Hey, what's up? Jamie Gerard here, and I am very excited to bring you this training. If you know me at all, if you follow me on social media, anything like that, you have heard me say this before. I will preface this by saying we have only a few rules in my house when it comes to things like this. My husband and I say that we only use swear words for emphasis, and we never swear out of anger. So I call this motivation is bullshit, and I hope that you are cool with that. If not, my goodness, I cuss a lot, so you should probably maybe find someone else to follow. But I hope that you like this one. This is something that has just recently come into my life, because I have helped women. I help women in the weight loss space mostly, and I help them, come in and establish a clean eating routine, and I help them establish a workout routine that fits with their life. And it's something that's so gratifying. But I hear this phrase over and over and over again of people saying, gosh, Jamie, I'm just not motivated. And I used to have so many responses to that. And I had so many ways that I would tell people that they could increase their motivation. And it actually wasn't until recently that I have adopted this motivation is bullshit mentality for my life. And it has been so freeing. I cannot even tell you how free I feel because I don't rely on motivation anymore. So not that long ago, earlier in this year, my husband and I decided that we were going to start trying for a second baby. And when we started trying for our first child, I was at the very tail end of my bachelor's degree. I had gone back to school at the tail end of my 20s. And I had been in school for about 3 years, and I was about to graduate with my engineering degree. And, my OB earlier in life had told me, because of issues that I have, it was going to be extremely difficult for me to get pregnant. And so we were going into it saying, I'm 30 right now. If it takes us a year or two to get pregnant, then so be it. Let's just start early. And so we'll have, some time set aside to, really, give ourselves the time that we needed to conceive. And so we started trying for my son in October of that year, and I found out I was pregnant in December. And I was blown away. I was terrified whenever I got the positive pregnancy test. I remember thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I wish that would have taken longer. I'm not ready for this yet. I thought I was going to have more time. And my husband he's nothing shakes him. He's such a rock. And so he just wrapped me up in his arms, and he's like, I'm so excited to do this with you. I can't wait to become a parent with you. And it kind of eased my fears. And, I went through my pregnancy. I had some trouble with weight gain and things like that, but it was a pretty smooth sailing pregnancy. I dealt with some pretty bad postpartum depression afterwards, but I'm actually very thankful for that time in my life, because it really brought me to where I am now. And, putting my story out there and letting people kind of see the other side of a life that maybe on the outside looks like it, is kind of smooth sailing. And it's, something that I pride myself on, being very, very open and honest. So, 7 months ago, we started trying to get pregnant for our second child. And I have to tell you, I was under the impression that it was going to happen just as fast as it did last time. So I waited and waited and waited until I was absolutely ready before I had my birth control mechanism removed or whatever. And so I was like, okay, it's go time. I'm going to get pregnant in this month, and I'm going to have my child in this month. And I was so ready. And over and over and over again, it just kept not happening. And I could feel myself, I have these women who look to me for support in weight loss. And I could feel myself just being so discouraged with what was happening in my, in my home life and trying to conceive, that I could feel myself draining and draining and draining. And I stopped working out and I started eating bad, and I was, eating my feelings and, just really struggling. And I saw the weight start to come on. And I have this, I think every woman has like their scary weight, right? The weight that you hit, you're like, oh shit, time to lock it up. I hit that weight so quickly, and I was like, oh my goodness, okay, it's time. We have to like get it together. And so I tell my husband, I was like, hey, I don't want to do this. I need your help. I know that we have what it takes. I have seen us put this together before. I started my weight loss journey when I was, in the deepest depression I had ever been in my life. I had zero motivation at that time, and I knew that I needed to make a change, and I did it without the motivation. And so I knew that I could do it again. And whenever I started to get back into it, I was surprised at how easily it came back to me. And it was not because, it was great to have the support of my husband. It was great to, have all the things that I did. But what I had this time that I didn't have the first time were habits. I had habits that I had established over the last 3 years that were still a part of me, even though I hadn't used them in 3 months. And so it was so much easier to get back on track because I was tapping into things that my body and my mind already knew how to do them. And long and behold, whenever I started to have results, when my weight started to go down, when I started to lift heavier, whenever, whatever it was that I could see progress in, when I started to see that progress, my motivation went up. So for me personally, my motivation is tied to results. I know if I can get started getting results, then my motivation will come. So I think that it's easy to get what the word motivation actually means, to get it kind of skewed. So I'm going to tell you, this is technically the definition of motivation. It's the reason, oh my gosh, reasons that we have for behaving a certain way. I would misspell the word that I had to put in a box. Okay, the reason or reasons we have for behaving in a certain way. And when you think about that, right, my weight loss journey was, the reasons behind it were because I wanted to be a healthy, happy mom. I, wanted to feel good whenever I looked in the mirror. I wanted all of these things, right? Well, whenever I wasn't able to conceive, those reasons were still there, right? So technically the motivation was still there. I just wasn't tapped into the reasons. Now, what is it that takes our focus away from the reasons that we want to live or achieve or whatever it is that we want to do, that we want to behave in a certain way? Well, the first thing is there's usually pain. There's some sort of pain in our life that is shadowing. It's clouding the reasons that were so clear to us before. And these negative feelings are just more powerful. Feelings of despair or failure or loneliness or anger or frustration or fear or guilt, those are all such powerful emotions. And they can overshadow so many of the big reasons that you have for living your life in a certain way. The other thing is delay of gratification. Oh my gosh, longest word ever. Delay of gratification. My sister used to joke with me because I am the person who wants things like right now. I want everything to happen immediately. I make impulsive decisions because I want things to happen fast. My sister used to tell me delay of gratification is the essence of adulthood. And when you can say to yourself, the work that I'm putting in now is going to give me so much more in the future than, giving into some other temptation right now. And I mean, in the weight loss space, a lot of people say, when they're talking about eating, they say a moment on the lips, forever on the hips, when you talk about like if you're eating off of your meal plan. And I think that's a really like catchy saying, because it's so true. It's saying, are you willing to give up what you're working for in the future for some sort of limited gratification right now? So being in some sort of pain, not being willing to wait for the result that you're looking for. Let's see, the third one is, core value alignment. I hope you can read my writing. So core value alignment, what does that mean? That means that the goals that we set, right? So we have this goal, and then we have these reasons that are feeding into the goal. Well, if your core values don't align with the end result, you're going to have a hard time having reasons that you actually connect with. So let me see if I can say that in a different way. I'll give you an example. One of my like big core values is achievement. And it's something that, I would love to tell you that mine is like love and hope and kindness and all these things. And they play a huge part in my life. But at my core, the way that I find value in myself is through achievement. And it's just kind of the way that I'm programmed. It's the way that I'm wired. And so I have to say, with every goal that I set, it has to give me some form of achievement. I have a sense of achievement in the end. Otherwise, I won't want to do it. If it's, I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to make myself sound like an asshole. So, basically, if I can say, I want to lose weight because I want to be able to look in the mirror and see that, that I have made physical change in my body and that I'm happy with what I see. That's my core values being aligned with that's my goal being aligned with my achievement core value. Another one that I have that helped me a lot whenever I went back to school later in life was saying, at the end of this, after I get my degree, I will be able to say, hi, I'm Jamie Gerard, I'm a nuclear engineer. And for me, having that title associated with my job was enough to make me want to push through a very, very difficult program that, if I didn't have that alignment, would have been something that I might have given up on. So, yes. So if you ever do find yourself saying, gosh, I'm just not motivated right now, these are really good things to kind of check in on with yourself and just say, is there some negative feeling of pain? It's causing me more pain than the idea of the pleasure of achieving my goal. Is there something like that present in my life? And how can I fix that? Is it maybe that I'm not willing to say that, good things they take more time, and I'm not willing to put in the time right now to get to the end result. And then the third one, just making sure that I actually have a worksheet on this that might be useful for you, of basically just going through, and it's identifying the core values that resonate with you most. And it's actually an activity that takes complete and total honesty, right? Like whenever I was telling you, yes, I have other core values that are, they're much more, what you would think of whenever you talk to somebody and say like, hey, like, what are your values? What's your value system? Honesty, integrity, trustworthiness, all of these things. It's very, very easy to say those things. But in this worksheet, you have to be completely honest with yourself and say, okay, this is what actually moves me from point A to point B. And nobody has to know what that is. You need to know it so that whenever you're setting your goals, they align with it and you're able to push through and you're able to achieve more. So I am a believer that motivation will leave you when you need it the most. And that's why I say motivation is bullshit. You can identify any of these and you can say, okay, well, I know the problem. Knowing the problem isn't going to get your motivation back. Knowing the problem might help you come to terms with the fact that, maybe that's why your motivation isn't there. But motivation is completely fleeting. It will leave you when you need it the most. But what won't ever leave you are the habits that you establish along the way. I have a complete course on habit forming that goes along with goal setting. If you are ever interested in that, I will put a link below this video to the Healthy Habit Project. And that is basically just going through setting one goal and developing habits that are going to help you achieve that one goal and working through it piecewise so that you're implementing one habit at a time in order to achieve your goal. So if that interests you at all, you can click the link below and you can inquire about that. We'll set up a time to talk. I can chat with you one-on-one and see if it's a good fit for you. And if it is, we can move forward. And if not, we can find something else to do to help you move along with your goals. So I hope that this is helpful. I hope that now you can look in the mirror and say, hey, motivation is bullshit, but I got this because I have the habits that it takes for me to be successful. Right? I'll see you next time.